name is Virginia. I'm from St. John's College. Just thank you so much for all being here. This is wonderful. I guess my question is directed sort of jointly to Mr. Hafez and Mr. Malkassian. Something Mr. Hafez said about the Egyptian revolution. The main lesson we learned from that was that there's immense power in peaceful change. And I guess I was wondering, in light of what has happened in Egypt, what can we say about Afghanistan? How can we think about America's role in Afghanistan? What kind of role? Is it a top-down role, or is it a nurturing role, or is it something else? How can we best conceive of that role in light of what has happened in Egypt?
Yeah, well, I think your question is probably the most difficult because, yeah, how to. I'm sure that now in many countries in the world, you have experts and people sitting down and trying to study the model of Egypt and what happened and how it happened, especially that it all started from within. And the people just took to the streets and it just, spontaneously happening that way, and then, coming to a point where the president departs the country, and then suddenly you have a country and people are just debating amongst themselves how to achieve their goals. But what I was trying to say is, this proves that somehow in this region, even if people usually trace violence in the world to the Middle East, that the Middle East in fact is able to produce its own peaceful currents from within. Something that I think can be also applicable in the case of Afghanistan. And as Carl was just saying, that it's very wise that, even though I'm not going to speak about US policy, but it's also wise when the US administration says, for example, that with regard to Afghanistan, there are some, reasonable, rational objectives that we can achieve, but the rest will have to come from within. And hence the idea of Afghan-led development or Afghan-led reconciliation. The idea of leaving the people to actually find what is best for them, as long as it's in the general parameters of peace. In the case of Egypt, we've laid this foundation for ourselves, and I think this is going to be the platform on which Egypt stands for the future, with regard to peace in the region and the values that actually made this revolution start. But is it an optimistic point for everybody in the Middle East? Yes, and for anybody who's outside of the Middle East, that change from within peacefully in such a way is definitely possible. And just one last thing, I was talking to a couple of people 4 or 5 days ago, and they were amazed, not just with the Egyptian revolution, but the fact that how the whole entire Middle East is actually evolving in such a way that many of them are just saying that we're just waiting for this to transform completely so we can see a new political, demographic, topography of a region that hopefully then will set new rules of how to deal with it, and also the other open conflicts in that region, be it the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, the Afghani-Pakistani problem and issue, the Iranian issue even. All this definitely will be hinged to this new region as it shapes out.
Yes, a very good question, and I had the benefit of being able to think about it a little bit. One of the difficulties is that things have advanced in Afghanistan for so long at this point. We've gotten so involved. I think if we had the chance to think about things a little bit more, we might have taken a more Egypt-like approach in regards to many things in Afghanistan. Not all of it, but many things. But some of the things that I take away from Egypt is one is that we have to take time, we have to be patient. Us thinking that we have the right solution to the problem probably won't produce the right solution to it. It's probably better for us to look at the situation on the ground, look at what's happening, talk to a lot of Afghans, and then decide what kind of policy we want. The other thing that I would say is important is for us to be inclusive and not to try to exclude various groups of society from being involved in any kind of political process inside of Afghanistan. I think that will only result in us creating enemies. That's my answer.
Thank you.